and let us all do we can to build a better future. I don't know how to really start this story off, but it has to deal with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. And it turns out he's upset with the Democrat Party. Now, I'm going to read what he has said, and I'm going to play a video. Now, I want to give a shout out to JB, Sabby Sabs, the whole crew of RBN, the Convo Couch, the entire great crew at Indie News Network, Do Dissidents, the Jimmy Dore Show, the Gray Zone, Hard Lens Media, of course, and so many others, even all of you. RFK Jr. says about the Democrat Party and why he's fed up. Now, the thing is, he can't say that we didn't say this or you didn't say this, because we all knew this. About the Democrat Party, they've made rules that if any candidate sets foot in the state of Iowa or sets foot in the state of New Hampshire, then none of the votes that are cast for that candidate will be tallied. Like the DNC is rigging the primary. Like the DNC is playing its shenanigans. Now, I've been warning about the Democratic primary, as have been so many others, about, why you should not run a Democratic primary. I'm going to sit back and just look at all of you and talk to you very simply before I play this video. We saw what happened to Bernie in 2016. We saw what happened to his campaign in 2020. The DNC committed election fraud. They denied Bernie Sanders the nomination. Now, Bernie Sanders is a spineless, nutless cuck wonder. That's who he is. He didn't fight for his supporters, but at the end of the day, if he had a backbone, if he had balls, if he wasn't a cuck, he had a really strong case of saying, hey, election fraud is taking place. But again, shout out to Nico House and so many others that in the aftermath of the 2016 Democratic primary, when finally the DNC was legally acquired to really share what happened, the DNC admitted, the Democratic Party admitted they're a private institution. So even in the off chance, let's say Bernie were to win in 2016, or Bernie were to win in 2020, or Andrew Yang, or Tulsi Gabbard, the DNC, as a private institution, can legally say, we don't accept the results, and we're still going to go as our nominee. The DNC has superdelegates. And of course, they're playing the same game again in 2024, or which will eventually be leading up to 2024. The DNC has made it abundantly clear that there will not be any primary debates. Now, to be fair, there's never been a point in U.S. history where an incumbent is actually speaking or at a debate. That never happens. Trump didn't do that for the Republican primary in 2020, and he won with a landslide victory, of course. I'm going to make a controversial statement here, but the Republican Party is more Democratic than the Democratic primary. I mean, they don't have superdelegates. Now, we did say, hey, RFK Jr. shouldn't be doing this. And now he's finally coming down to the conclusion that, oh my goodness gracious, Cretaceous, the Democrat Party, it's bad news bears. Yes. You finally caught up to it. Now look. Again, anyone that's trying to run to this election, I do wish you all the best. Okay, truly I do. But here, you don't have to take my word for it. Let's listen to RFK Jr.'s words about it. Shout out to Citizen Free Press who managed to get this wonderful clip. Let's play it for all of you lovely, lovely people.
It's pretty clear that the DNC does not want a primary. I don't want to say that they want a coronation, but that's, I think that's a fair way to put it, actually. They're doing, they're essentially, they're fixing the process so that it makes it almost impossible to have democracy function. They're effectively disenfranchising the Democratic voters from having any choice in who becomes president or who becomes the Democratic nominee.
So you think? Like, I'm listening to this. I'm trying not to really make faces as much because I'm listening, but no duh. I mean, I remember you saying you want the Democratic Party to return back to your father, what you remember. Democratic Party wasn't what you remember, buddy. I mean, what? Seriously. Don't run in the Democratic primary. If you're not with the establishment, you ain't going to win. It's a rigged game. Only cheaters win. And the cheaters know the dealers. What are you talking about?
So two of the things they've done to date is they've moved the Iowa primary. They've made rules that if anybody campaigns in Iowa or sets foot, any candidate sets foot in the state of Iowa or sets foot in the state of New Hampshire, that none of the votes that are cast for that candidate will be tallied.
This isn't breaking news. We actually covered this when this story happened, as did everyone else. Which, again, if you are in the state of Iowa or New Hampshire and you're a Democrat voter, hell, if you're a voter in general, I'd be a little pissed off that Biden and his administration are doing this because what? They want South Carolina to be number one because it's diverse. I wish I had real life special effects so I could show like a rainbow with the word diverse on it. I think it'd be great. But yes, it'd be diverse because South Carolina, not like that was a state where Obama, it's me, Barack Obama. I made a phone call that allowed Bernie to cuck out, that allowed Pete Buttigieg, and Amy Klobuchar to drop out and endorse my good friend Joe Biden, through and through. Joe, 30330. I mean, really, you're coming down to this conclusion, Bobby, buddy. This is old news. We knew this. And now you're raising the alarm?
In other words, any delegate that I win in New Hampshire or Iowa would go instead to the president. And now they're trying to change it so that if I campaign in New Hampshire, that none of the votes cast for me in Georgia will count. And that's significant because it's hard to win the nomination without Georgia.
What is the logic?
Well, they're rigging it so that it, effectively, we're looking at the tabulations now that look like if you add up all the super delegates that they control and all of the automatic delegates that just go to the party and go to the president, I would have to win almost 80% of all of the states in order to beat President Biden.
Now, the thing is, that's an astronomical number. And number two, I'm going to give him credit here. At least RFK Jr. is talking about it. You would never see Bernie Sanders talk about this. You would never hear him talk about it. The only other person who I've seen talk about the Democratic primary being rigged was Tulsi Gabbard. So for a sitting candidate, or not sitting candidate, for a candidate that's running for the nomination for the Democratic primary, I mean, fine. Hey, you're a little late to the party, RFK Jr. Welcome. Grab yourself a nice cold beer. I got a lot more to tell you about what your oh so fantastic DNC is going to do as they put their blue wing bone all the way up your campaign's wazoo, because that's what the DNC is going to do. They committed election fraud in 2016 and in 2020 primaries. Polling stations being shut down, lack of paper ballots, election machines not working. People waiting 8 hours in line, 10 hours in line, a whole day just to vote. And if you gave them water or even a nice slice of delicious pizza, oh my goodness gracious Cretaceous, you know what's going to happen? That person can't vote. Yeah, I know. You think I'm joking, but I'm not. I mean, come on. You're a little late to the game, but fine.
And if he only wins 20%.
And yet you continue on. So what is your strategy then in light of this for defeating President Biden?
Yeah, and again, you got to fight your friend, Joe Biden. I know you said he's a family friend, and I get it. I heard Bernie say that too. Ugh. But God damn it, look. The only candidate who seems to be really gut-checking Joe Biden isn't on the left. It's Donald Trump. Of course he would, because it's Trump. I'd be surprised if he didn't. If he was acting all polite, I'd have to say he was a pod person then. RFK, they're rigging the system for Biden, a senile old goat who doesn't know where he's at anymore.
These rules will not be finalized until September 14th, and we've written the DNC protesting. I mean, there's some really wild things that they're now considering, including forcing me to actually pay for the primaries. And their logic is that they don't need a primary because they already have a candidate. And therefore, I'm costing them all this money, and that money should be paid for by me and, maybe Marianne Williamson. So it's not, it's a process that is rigged. And we live at a time in American history when a lot of Americans think that democracy is broken, that the political system is rigged, and that there's not really any democracy. And unfortunately, the DNC is taking a lot of steps that confirm that outlook.
If the decision holds for the current, sort of primary structure with the DNC, what is the route to victory for you?
Again, you could drop out and run third party. You could do that. You really could, if you want to, but you're not gonna do that. And so what I have to say then is, again, RFK Jr., you might have been wasting everybody's time running in the Democratic primary. Again, maybe running as a third party candidate, dare I say it, maybe running in the Republican primary, things would have been a little bit more in your favor.
Against President Biden.
Oh, if the DNC is going to rig it so that it is simply impossible for anybody to challenge President Biden, then, I need to look at other alternatives, because I can't go back to the people support me and to my donors and say, I'm in this to make a point. I need to show them a road to victory.
What kind of alternative?
Again, what do you have? No victory, man. It's not in the DNC. You're not going to get one. The Democrats won't let you. Bernie Sanders' movement in 2020 and in 2016 were far more larger, and with all that resource behind him, which he never did use efficiently, even he couldn't shake the foundations of the Democratic Party. He came very close, but Bernie was a cock.
Alternatives would you be exploring, Mr. Kennedy?
Well, I don't know exactly, because I want to see what the DNC does.
We know what the DNC is going to do. This isn't open for a debate. We know what the DNC is going to do. The DNC is going to screw them over.
I want to see if they make it a fair contest. And I'm not asking that it be 100% fair. But I'm asking that there at least be, a chance that it be plausible for somebody else to win other than their, chosen anointed candidate.
So close. So close. I would say to RFK Jr., if we ever do get him on the show, why he's really putting himself through this. Because again, it's like you're trying to tell the ocean, the tidal waves, not to go in and out. Good luck. You can't tell the tides not to come in or out. You're going to look like a crazy person. Tides go in, tides go out. Simple as that. Stole that from Bill O'Reilly, but then again, you're not going to stop it. You cannot stop the DNC from being what it is inherently designed to be, and that is a corrupt institution. They made it very clear that they only want to pick who they want as their nominee. The DNC has made it very clear that you, the voter, don't matter. The only way you do matter is if you vote and follow orders. That's how you matter to the Democratic establishment. You're just participating in. At the end of the day, the superdelegates have the final say. The DNC establishment has the final say who they want to be their nominee for the 2024 Democratic primary, and they want Joe Biden. Now, of course, we did cover earlier this week on how there are the Democrat operatives who want to replace Biden and Kamala because their approval rating is in the toilet. It's very bad for those two. It's terrible. It's not good. It's not good at all. It's pretty pathetic what's happening to the Democrats right now, where they're coming to the realization that, oh no, Joe Biden is not a popular candidate. Kamala is not a popular candidate. How many times do we need to repeat that? It's clear. And electoral politics is no longer being viewed as the way to bring in change. We have to look at citizen ballot initiatives. We have to look at building movements and organizations not connected to Washington, D.C. After all, who's in Lahaina, in Maui? Who's helping out the people? Is it these institutions and agencies? No, it's the people. In the states where you have access to citizen ballot initiative, who's making the change to bring in a better future? Is it these politicians, or is it the people that want to see these citizen ballot initiatives implemented for a better life? It's the people. It's the people. It's the people. We as citizens have power, and we have to make it so. We as citizens have to start pushing back against the neoliberal two-party system so that we can have our voices heard. The evidence is out there. Electoral politics is failing us. Now, again, if you want to vote for citizen ballot initiatives, you do have to partake in that. And I understand why a lot of people are burnt out by electoral politics. But RFK Jr., the fact that you are coming down to this conclusion now that the DNC is rigging it against you, we've been telling that to you since day one. Hell, people told that to Marianne Williamson. No matter how this plays out, you're not going to win. And even then, there are people who had the audacity to say that Dr. Cornel West should run in a Democratic primary. No. It's not going to work. It's going to fail miserably. And everybody sees it. Everybody knows about it. So if you are supporting Marianne Williamson and RFK Jr., just know this. I wish you guys all the best. Truly, I do. I understand why people would want to support RFK Jr. or Marianne Williamson. I understand why people want to support Dr. Cornel West. Hell, I understand why people would support the Libertarians. And I understand why people would support and vote for Donald Trump or any other Republican primary candidates. But the thing is, when you look at how primaries are run and who has the final say, the Democratic Party, the DNC establishment, the entire institution has shown us that they don't care about your voice. They made it public. They said it out loud. The secret sauce is out. RFK, you're surprised? It's like telling a person, hey, don't cross the street. There's a car coming your way. And they look shocked and surprised when they get hit and they're laid out on the road. Everybody's been saying it. Good luck in the wars to come. You will need it.